Tracking our second atmospheric river as we head into our Thanksgiving week and the travel impacts ahead. I'm ABC 10 Chief Meteorologist Monica Woods. It has been one round after another. We've been keeping these in-depth forecasts going on our ABC 10 Plus streaming app. That's live, local, and always on. Watch it for free wherever you stream on TV. Just make sure you download it and we'll keep you ahead of everything as it's heading our way. It's been quite an active November for us. This is what it looked like earlier today on this Sunday. It was the day in between the two atmospheric rivers. It has been a mess throughout Northern California. We have seen ponding on roadways, flooding, as well as snow impacts in the Sierra, chain controls, accidents all throughout, mudslides, rock slides, you name it. But today was one of those days we could do cleanup. We could get decorations out if needed. This was at Donner along I-80, Donner Lake. You can see also the dry conditions right there. At Echo, that's Highway 50. And then this is at Richards on I-5 in the Sacramento region. So again, today was that drying out day and time to do all the storm cleanup, prepping for the next atmospheric river in place. This is our holiday week as it's playing out. Monday and Tuesday are going to be weather impact alert days because the showers are making a return. Now, the deal with the snow level is we'll once again see that bouncing around in the Sierra. It starts off at around 4,500 feet very early Monday, but then rises to around 7,000 feet during the afternoon. On Tuesday, some cold air starting to work its way back into the region, and that's going to draw that snow line down to about 5,000 feet once again. Wednesday, drying and clearing, but Thanksgiving Day is dry and unseasonably cool. So we're tracking that second atmospheric river with changing mountain conditions plus holiday travel, not just stateside, but also throughout the entire country, because we know there's so many people that take to the air to get to family and friends. Winter storm warning in place through 4 a.m. on Wednesday. That's right through the Sierra Spine, and it extends throughout the central and parts of the southern Sierra because this next atmospheric river really taking aim at central and southern California. Winter weather advisory in place north of I-80. That also will continue through Wednesday at 4 a.m. Initially, we're going to see the low pressure system driving in rain and snow. Now, the bottom line with this one, it is not as powerful as the last one that was moving in. You can see the plume of moisture certainly moving through the Pacific, but again, it's largely impacting central and southern California. But even at that, it just doesn't hold as much punch as the first one that came in last week did. So we're going to see snow, we're going to see rain, we'll see impacts, but likely not the flooding, the huge issues with mudslides and even stranded cars and such. Here's a look at our snow level forecast. I mentioned this Monday morning, starting off at about 4,000 to 4,500 feet, but it quickly moves up the hill to about 7,000 feet. We'll still be putting snow on the passes because they are about 7,200 to 7,300 feet. By Tuesday morning, it comes down to about 6,000 feet, and there we have it on Tuesday evening, back down to around 5,000 feet. And you can kind of see this playing out here with our future cast, where we're looking at snow. It will be more in kind of the purple and whitish color. Once it turns over to kind of that pinkish color, that's when we're calling for that mix in the Sierra. Tomorrow morning, we start off with showers just south of Highway 50, generally speaking, through the northern San Joaquin Valley, and then for this northern part of the Sacramento Valley. So we're kind of in this little dry slot here in the Central Valley from Sacramento, the capital region. We'll get periods of on and off showers through the day, but the bigger rainfall totals will be south of us. We'll see areas of scattered showers continue through the evening commute. And again, kind of that mixed bag of precipitation below 7,000 feet for the Sierra. Statewide precipitation. Now, this is all coming on the heels of huge numbers drawing in last week. We are 6 inches above normal for Eureka. Redding over 5 inches ahead of where we normally are this time of year. Sacramento, 1.75 inches. San Francisco, about 1.5 inches of where we normally are. But then you head through central and southern California, and we're actually running a deficit. That's how much this last atmospheric river headed into Northern California and dropped huge numbers here. As far as total precipitation, this is the time of year we really start to see things ramping up. But even at that, look at this November total. 1.78 inches is our average monthly total for the entire month for downtown Sacramento. We got more than that in one day last Friday with 2 inches of rain falling. It was a record setter for the day in downtown Sacramento, but we are just continuing to add to those totals. Right now, the monthly total is at 3.7 inches. Again, our average is usually about 1.78, but it's kind of feast or famine in November for California. We either usually get huge numbers or we end up with nothing. So record rainfall last Friday, 2 inches of rain. That beat the old record set back in 1978 at 1.07 inches. So it completely smashed it last Friday. It was just the real bulk of that precipitation coming through. I wanted to give you a multi-day rundown here of what we saw for downtown Sacramento. You saw some of those numbers with that last graphic. Our total in just the 4-day period was nearly 3 inches of rain. Sacramento executive, about 2.5 inches of rain. But then you head into Stockton and Modesto. That's where we really start to see the drop off happening, where we only had about 1.25 inches for Stockton, whereas Modesto barely getting up to about 1 inch of rain. Snow totals equally as impressive for Boreal, almost 4 feet of snow in a 4-day span there. Sierra Tahoe with over 2 feet, as well as Palisades Tahoe, North Star, nearly 2 feet of snow. Just wonderful conditions here, and the timing is ideal. We've got so many ski resorts that have either just come online or are coming online in the coming days, all ahead of that Thanksgiving holiday where so many people want to hit the slopes. They've been eager, waxing up their skis and snowboards, getting ready after the long, dry summer months. Kirkwood coming online there December 6th, but Sierra Tahoe is next week. Okay, looking at our major reservoir supply levels, I did want to point this out just because we've had so much rain and I know people get concerned. Early in the season, it's not too much of a concern just simply because water managers have made capacity for all the inflow. So some of our bigger reservoirs, including Trinity, Shasta, and Oroville, still only about 50 to 65% full. Folsom's a small one. It's 35% full. Now, the deal with Folsom, you can't keep it that full because a little bit of water goes a long way in that tiny, right? It's not tiny, but it's smaller in comparison to like Shasta. Take a look at some of those new Central Sierra reservoirs. New Melones, Don Pedro, all at about 70 to 75% full. Millerton at about 40% full. We're going to be adding to those, though, just simply because this next series of rain events is going to be hitting Central and Southern California a little bit more than Northern California. San Luis is about 50% full, so things are looking pretty good. As far as Oroville, one that kind of stood out to me was how quickly this one rose. So I think water managers are basically just trying to let that fill up a little bit, mostly because it's a bigger reservoir. So quite frankly, it can take quite a lot. It's below where we were in 2023-24. So this is our current line right here, well below the capacity where you can see it's well up to, well, it's right about 3.5 million acre feet is where it can hold. And right now we're under 2 million acre feet. As far as where we usually see that line drawing up, that's going to be the peak of our snow melt. And this is why I was saying building capacity for our reservoirs is a delicate balance. I have to make capacity for the runoff, like what we saw with this last series of storms. On some of those days, we didn't even total any snowfall because it just fell as rain. And then we saw the snow. So it's kind of been that balance of runoff coming in and releases happening for many of the reservoirs. As far as our rivers, they've been doing pretty well. Again, we're at that point in the year that we aren't too terribly concerned about flooding. That happens deeper into the season, say February, March, when you add in some snow melt and everything's running a little bit higher. Capacities at the reservoirs aren't quite there. And so there's releases happening. You get the inflow from some of the confluence of the rivers. Sacramento is the one that gets where everything meets. So we've got the Feather, the Yuba, the Sacramento, the American, all kind of converging with the flows in downtown Sacramento. But right now, things are definitely higher. There's so much debris in those rivers, but as far as danger zone, we're doing very well right now. We will track more rain and snow, as well as some gusty conditions with our weather impact alert headlines, including that timeline of Monday into Tuesday, needing to prepare extra travel time. If your travel plans take you out early for holiday travel, Monday into Tuesday, it's not the best for traveling. By Wednesday and Thursday, we really start to dry things out. I just know the volume of traffic and just based on work schedules, sometimes you just gotta bite the bullet and just deal with it. So another atmospheric river is coming in, rain and snow being the main impacts with occasional gusty winds, mostly for this year. As far as the atmospheric river tracking, it will be largely impacting the central and southern part of the Sacramento Valley on Monday. And then it does migrate a little bit more to the north on Tuesday, where we get some slightly higher rainfall totals. It's not going to be huge by any means compared to the last round, but we will be right back into the wet weather for us. Our satellite and radar showing the counterclockwise circulation of the low. That's kind of the driving mechanism to pull in the atmospheric river from the Pacific, holding a lot of moisture, comparatively speaking, to just a colder air mass that might come in. That would dump a lot of snow, but not necessarily a lot of rain. So we're picking up roughly about 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch of rain throughout the lower elevations. Once we head up into the high country, about another 1 to 12 inches for the Tahoe Basin, higher amounts for places like Kirkwood and Bear Valley. So along Highway 4, 88, 89. We're going to be dealing with some difficult travel, to say the least, even higher amounts along 395. So heading into places like Mammoth, we're going to get some really good snowfall coming in. It already looks beautiful up there at Mammoth, just gorgeous conditions. Mammoth has been open for over a week now, and so folks have been able to enjoy some of the slopes there. For Palisades Tahoe, also coming online and opening last week. They were able to actually open a little bit early for some of the ski resorts because of the amount of snow and just really pretty conditions up there. And now we're going to add to it as we head into our holiday week. Here's a look at what the futurecast looks like into our Monday. We've got rain coming in across the coast, and that will be impacting parts of our valley for the morning commute. By 4 p.m., more of us start to see the band of rain, but again, it's a mix of rain and snow right through the Sierra. Yosemite getting some pretty decent snowfall, at least at the higher elevations of Yosemite. Now, the back edge starts to move through on Tuesday. This is a pretty quick mover for us. It's not going to be a long duration atmospheric river. Expanding the picture, you can see Wednesday afternoon, we're dry throughout much of Southern California. No snow on the Grapevine. Pretty good conditions into our Thursday as well, even into our early Friday. I'm going to show you a longer range forecast, which will show after we get through Thanksgiving Day for parts of the state, we're going to bring back a chance of showers on the back end. Holiday travel, driving the best time, Thanksgiving morning. Plus, we've got the dry weather. Worst time is going to be Tuesday evening into Wednesday. Now, parts of California will actually be dealing with some weather, especially the central and southern part of the state. We're still going to have those showers lingering. If you're flying, Thanksgiving morning and Sunday morning are actually the best time. The worst time, if you're flying out on Wednesday, just be prepared. You've probably done it before. Huge amounts of travelers trying to get out on Wednesday to meet their destination on Thursday. As far as the statewide view, here's a look at Monday afternoon, and it's pretty much north to south that we're dealing with the rain to about Santa Barbara. Los Angeles, San Diego, not quite getting in on the rain yet on Monday. Once we go into that Tuesday forecast, we're starting to see some of those rain bands move in towards Southern California to about Los Angeles. Snow continues to fall all along 395. So this is what I was talking about. Central and Southern Sierra getting hit a bit harder than what we saw with this last storm. By Wednesday, everybody's drying out. Great looking travel there. Watch out for some patchy fog, though, in the morning. And then Thanksgiving Day, we are dry. By Friday, late in the day, we start to look at this little batch of moisture trying to press its way back towards Southern California. So Saturday afternoon, we're right back to some rain there into Southern California, but dry. Into the following days after that, we should have some pretty decent and warmer weather ahead. California highs on Thanksgiving Day. This is a look at the regional and statewide view. Temperatures in the 50s for Northern California, 60s down south, 70s inland there for the Imperial Valley. We'll see those highs in the mid 70s. National highs, ooh, wow, it's going to be cold. We're getting a big blast of cold air coming in here for parts of the Great Lakes. Highs are only in the 20s and 30s. Now, it is going to be warmer into Florida, the Sunshine State, seeing highs in the 80s. Parts of Texas also in the 80s, at least for southern Texas. Northern Texas is going to be in the 50s, and cold through the Intermountain West. 20s and 30s expected. So we'll see those highs generally going to be on the cool side here, especially into our Thanksgiving Day. Now, our long-range forecast, if we're looking at sheer precipitation, we've got kind of a mixed bag going on early in the week for places like O'Hare, and then that moves into parts of New England, even the mid-Atlantic states. Just be aware all the travel plans that are going to have you on connections may be delayed coming into our Thanksgiving week. On the back edge of this, we're still dealing with some active weather throughout parts of the Great Lakes, the southern plains, all the way through the deep south starting to clear out, but New England once again getting hit with some rain mixed with snow. Longer range outlook, likely warmer across the west. So finally, we got that cool air moving their way east. Likely drier, though, throughout much of the country. Once we move in through the first week of December, likely wetter through the northern part of the country. Highs for tomorrow near 40 for the Sierra, 40s and 50s for the foothills. Across the coast, we're looking at highs in the 50s, and we'll see that inland as well. Moving on to our regional forecast for the next 5 days. On and off showers expected for the Sierra. That's just one of those places. Stay tuned to the forecast because it's really going to be back and forth, rain, snow, rain, snow. For the foothills, it's all about rain into Tuesday, and then dry weather should be beautiful up there. Highs are going to stay in the 50s to near 60. For the coast, we've got rain through Tuesday, then dry weather. Pretty good travel conditions there. 3-day forecast. Monday and Tuesday are our weather impact alert days. Then we dry things out in through Thanksgiving Day, watching that slight chance for showers coming in on Friday. And beyond that, we are back to some sunshine. Finally, a whole lot more sunny skies there on this 10-day forecast.